Several years ago, I was recruited by Judge Roth, Judge Boylan, and the district attorney at the time, David Heckler, to participate in a pilot program in Bucks County called the Community Accountability Program. That program is a diversionary program for first-time nonviolent criminal defendants who are over the age of 18. As everybody knows, in our law, there's that magic number, you turn 18, and that means you have a permanent criminal record if you make a bad choice. This program, which again is a pilot program, not only in the county, in the state, and in the country, again is the first of its kind to allow adults to have a second chance. And when I was recruited, there were 11 of us that participated with the youth aid panel, and we trained and we learned all of the different things that go into why someone might make a poor choice, commit their first retail theft. Perhaps they're 20 years old and they're drinking underage, or they're smoking marijuana, or they're speeding through town in a careless manner. Each person who's charged with one of these crimes, that it's a first-time offender, has the opportunity to have their case evaluated for whether or not it's appropriate for this panel. And the unique thing about the panel is that it's made up of community members. We're back to the community policing itself. And we have participants that come before 5, 6, or 7 of us on the panel, and they take responsibility for their actions. But then the panel gets a chance to ask questions. What's going on in your life at this time that would make you make this decision? What services could we possibly provide to you that would make you not be in a position to feel that you had to make a bad choice? And it usually lasts about a half hour. Each person is then, each case is then individually discussed among the panel members, and we make a decision as to whether or not the case is appropriate for the CAP program. And if it is, the panel then, headed by a chair, which in the upper Bucks would be me, imposes informal conditions of a probation. It's usually a 90 to 120 day probation, and each person has a caseworker that will go over all of the conditions of their probation. And if they successfully complete each one of the requirements, their case is expunged and they get a second chance, which means that in a background check for employment, which is all too common these days, you're not going to be prevented from being hired because you have a retail theft, or perhaps you were drinking underage. I think most people don't realize for underage drinking that 2 incidents of underage drinking can prevent a child who just happens to be an adult but is still treated by a child by their parents. It can prevent them from receiving financial aid. It can prevent them from being awarded a dorm room, which without both of those things, the majority of students are not going to be able to attend college. They can lose an entire year or 2 before they're able to put that back together. And this program prevents that. It gives them that second chance and allows kids to move forward with their lives. By the same token, we have had a 47-year-old woman who's committed retail theft because she wasn't receiving child support. She didn't realize that there were services in the area that she qualified for, and she had just lost her job. And in that case, we were able to take a look at it and say, this is not a criminal, this is not the crime of the century, and it's not something that means that she should have a criminal record and be prevented from ever seeking employment again because it's a theft charge. This woman, who I am proud to say was one of our first successful participants, not only still volunteers 4 years later with the organization where she was participating in doing community service hours, but she is successfully receiving child support and has been gainfully employed for the last 3 years. She raves about the program and frankly has become very good friends with her caseworker because again, we're all members of the community. The thing that I've learned most from the Community Accountability Panel is listening. which we talked about a little bit earlier, where we talked about an important skill for a judge is listening. In the community accountability panel, it's all listening. It's asking a question that may be 4 or 5 words long, and then listening for 15 or 20 minutes to the dynamics of what's happening in this person's life. And the amazing thing about it is that you learn that there are 1,000 different things affecting each and every one of us every day. And any one of those things could affect our judgment for a split second and result in a criminal offense. It could result in being charged. Many times people don't even realize what is going on in their life that is stressing them out to the point that they are acting out in a manner that is inappropriate and it violates the law, but doesn't necessarily make them a criminal. And those listening skills and the professionalism with which you treat people and the kindness with which you treat them when they're coming before you, and quite frankly, the most vulnerable way, where they're accepting responsibility for a mistake and they feel as if they're being judged by several members of their community, it's humbling. It's humbling to see someone come before you and be willing to do that. And I believe that taking that humble attitude to the bench will allow me to be successful as a district magistrate, and that people will feel that justice was done, even if they don't agree with the outcome.